WWE Executive Chairman and longtime Vince McMahon ally Bruce Prichard comments for the first time on the allegations made against the former TKO and WWE Executive Chairman. The lineup for the Women's Elimination Chamber match reportedly has been leaked. We'll let you know what that is. Bryan Danielson versus Eddie Kingston is official for AEW Revolution with title implications. Adam Copeland will face off against Daniel Garcia on next week's episode of AEW Dynamite to see who's going to be challenging Christian Cage for the TNT Championship at AEW Revolution. The CMLL stars have called out and challenged the Blackpool Combat Club for a match in Mexico. There will be no episode of AEW Collision next week thanks to the NBA All-Star Game. The Undertaker opens up on Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania 40, and main roster superstar Shotzi competes at an NXT live event. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of professional wrestling. Let's start off talking about Bruce Prichard, who for the first time has commented on the allegations made against former WWE and TKO Executive Chairman Vince McMahon. Of course, Bruce Prichard, a long-time right-hand man for McMahon throughout the 1980s, 90s, 2000s, and present day. WWE Executive Director Bruce Prichard has commented on the allegations and lawsuit made against Vince McMahon, WWE, and John Laurinaitis. On January 25, a lawsuit was filed hitting Vince McMahon with allegations of sexual trafficking, abuse, and more. Also named as defendants in the lawsuit were former Executive Vice President of Talent Relations John Laurinaitis and WWE, the latter of which still currently employs Prichard in his Executive Director role. On his Something to Wrestle podcast, Prichard, who worked for Vince McMahon in WWE across multiple tenures with the company throughout several decades, was given the chance to address the situation, and as you can imagine, he didn't have too much to say as he couldn't legally comment on the matter.
I don't know why, but everybody thinks you're going to be able to comment about the news that has surrounded WWE in recent weeks. And I want to give you a moment here to say whatever you want to say, and I'll hang up and listen.
Well, first of all, as far as lawsuits and things of that nature, I'm not at liberty to discuss any legal matters with the company whatsoever. So to that, there's nothing that I can say and or do.
Right.
So there can't be a response from a legal standpoint, and you can ask till you're blue in the face, and that's going to be your answer. I'm not involved. I'm not being sued. I'm not accused of anything, and nor, it's a legal matter. And as I said to you, sometimes it is as simple as, for those who believe, no explanation is needed. For those that don't, no explanation will do. And that's kind of where we are, and we'll let the rest of it sit in the hands of the fine legal system that we have here in the United States of America.
I just want to remind everybody that Bruce is still actively employed by the WWE, and they were named in the lawsuit. So it's pretty logical that he's not going to be able to give a response here. Back before Bruce was back, and he and I were doing Something Else to Wrestle with Bruce Prichard on the WWE network at the time, we did a show and we covered a topic that included a reference to an incident that happened that had pending litigation against WWE. Now, neither Bruce nor I knew that, but of course that couldn't make air because it was an active lawsuit against WWE. So therefore you can't actually talk about that on WWE programming. I realize this is not technically WWE programming, but Bruce works there. And so without Bruce even being told, don't talk about this on the podcast, we're just thankful that Bruce can still do the podcast while he's there. So we're certainly not going to.
Well, and no one told me not to do anything on the podcast other than the simple fact that I work for a company that is involved in a lawsuit right now. Can't comment.
That's logic. Right? I mean, you don't have to be told logic.
Folks, if you work at a large company and your large company is being sued, then there's very little that you can say about it. And if you do, that's a good way for you to lose your job.
And we're not in the business of that. We've lost the tricep. We lost the labrum. Let's hang on to the gig. Listen, I want to give you some props. WWE has a lot of
So that is the comments from Bruce Prichard. Obviously, as you would expect, not really commenting that much on the matter because legally he cannot do so. Of course, we get any more updates on Vince McMahon, the allegations made against him, the lawsuit, any other reaction to it, of course, we'll let you know in a future video. Now, spoilers ahead when it comes to the Elimination Chamber Premium Live event, specifically the Women's Elimination Chamber match, because reportedly the lineup for the contest may have been leaked. So we'll give you 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Spoilers ahead once again, and that is because the Elimination Chamber lineup for the women may have possibly been revealed. Now, it seems like the next WWE in-ring appearance for one Jade Cargill has been leaked, and it's sooner than you might think. A new report has revealed some spoilers for WWE Elimination Chamber as plans are currently being written. In a report from PW Insider, the Women's Elimination Chamber match participants were revealed. As of the report, the current plan is for the Elimination Chamber to determine Rhea Ripley's Wrestlemania opponent, and it's set to feature Becky Lynch, who's already qualified, Bianca Belair, who again has already qualified, Liv Morgan, Tiffany Stratton, Naomi, who of course returned to the WWE at the Royal Rumble, and also Jade Cargill. Now, as I mentioned, Becky Lynch and Bianca Belair have already qualified, and there are qualifying matches announced for Liv Morgan versus Zoe Stark on Raw, and Tiffany Stratton versus Shotzi on SmackDown, and Naomi versus Zelina Vega on SmackDown. But interestingly, no qualifying match announced featuring Jade Cargill. So either Jade could make her in-ring debut on WWE television in a qualifying match, or could end up skipping the process entirely, and her next match could actually be inside the Elimination Chamber itself. Now, as Cargill remains a free agent, vetting offers seemingly from both Raw General Manager Adam Pearce and SmackDown General Manager Nick Aldis, the story could conceivably be that she brokers an immediate entry clause into her contract, theoretically with Raw or SmackDown, so she doesn't have to qualify. As I mentioned, next week's Friday Night SmackDown taping on February 16 will consist of 2 episodes, as it has to be pre-taped on Friday 23rd, as talent will already be in Australia for the Chamber show. So since there are 2 weeks of programming between now and the Premium Live event, things could always change, but that is reportedly the planned lineup for the Women's Elimination Chamber match as it stands right now. We'll let you know if there's going to be any more changes moving forward when it pertains to that. Now, let's talk about a big match that's been announced for AEW Revolution that's taking place next month, of course, an AEW pay-per-view. This is quite interesting stuff because on last night's episode of AEW Collision, the pay-per-view opponent for Bryan Danielson at AEW Revolution was revealed. In a backstage interview segment with Lexi Nair, Eddie Kingston not only shared his thoughts on the despicable actions of Nicholas and Matthew Jackson, he also issued a challenge. Kingston noted that he found the Young Bucks' attack on Sting and Darby Allin to be horrible, but his true purpose was to call out Bryan Danielson. Noting that he planned on taking on Danielson at Revolution, Kingston proposed a unique stipulation. In the main event, Eddie Kingston wins the match, or in the event rather that Eddie Kingston wins the match, Bryan Danielson has to shake his hand and pretend to mean it. Revolution will take place on Sunday, March 3rd at the Greensboro Coliseum. The match has now been confirmed by Tony Khan. It was also confirmed that not only will the match be taking place at AEW Revolution, but as you can see on the screen right there, it is going to be for the Continental Crown Championship. So that match is now confirmed. Now, speaking of title matches for AEW Revolution, this one wasn't confirmed, but we are going to be getting a confirmation as to who Christian Cage is going to be defending the TNT Championship against at Revolution very, very soon. Because on last night's episode of AEW Collision, there was an in-ring interview segment with Tony Schiavone checking in with Adam Copeland. After the Cope Open, Adam Copeland's Open Challenge, yielded a string of wins for the former WWE superstar, he was now on the hunt for championship gold. Going through a range of options, Copeland reinforced his plan to continue to target former best friend Christian Cage for the TNT Championship. However, after stating his intention, another AEW star with a string of wins emerged as Daniel Garcia returned to the ring. Having just won a match against Shane Taylor earlier on Collision, Garcia noted that he too has had a recent string of victories. In the end, the pair would go on to agree to have a match on this coming week's edition of AEW Dynamite, that being on February 14, with the winner moving on to face Christian Cage for the TNT Championship at AEW Revolution. So that match is set for Wednesday, and the winner will be facing Christian Cage for the TNT Championship at the big pay-per-view moving forward as well. So certainly, again, a big match and big stipulations set for the upcoming bout as well. So, of course, we get any more details on that moving forward. The results, the outcome of it, of course, we'll let you know. Now, it's been quite a few busy weeks for AEW when it regards CMLL. Now, the stars of CMLL have certainly made an impact in recent weeks in AEW. The likes of Mystico, Mascara Dorada, Volador Jr., and others have been very active on AEW television as of late, particularly in their recent feud with the Blackpool Combat Club. The feud spawned from Jon Moxley rubbing the Luchadors the wrong way during a recent match with Jeff Hardy, which prompted the CMLL stars to assault the former AEW World Champion. The BCC have got some revenge on the CMLL contingent, with Bryan Danielson defeating Hirikiko on a recent episode of Collision, and the team of Danielson, Moxley, and Claudio Castagnoli picked up victory over the CMLL stars on the latest episode of AEW Dynamite in trios action. However, it doesn't seem this issue has been settled, as the Luchadors cut a promo after Mystico's victory over Matt Sydal on the recent episode of AEW Rampage. Now, speaking in Spanish, Mystico told Volador that he believes the stars of CMLL have all proven why they are so respected and adored in Mexico. Volador went on to say that that's right, which is why we are inviting you, Jon Moxley, to teach you a lesson that CMLL has the best wrestling in the world. It was also then said that the BCC may have won this round, but the war is not over, as the Luchadors will be on the minds of the BCC for a long time. Before saying he is willing to fight them again in his home next time, this led to Mystico to say, "We will wait for you to home Arena Mexico." Moxley and Castagnoli will mix it up with two more luchadors last night on AEW Collision, while the rest of the CMLL stars traveled to Japan to take part in the annual Fantastica Mania tour with New Japan Pro Wrestling. So it would appear that we're going to be getting the BCC versus the stars of CMLL in Arena Mexico in the near future. Now, speaking of AEW Collision, we're not going to be getting an episode next week. This is quite interesting stuff as well. Obviously, Collision has been preempted a couple of times, there's always a lot going on Saturday nights, of course. Now, this coming week, we'll see a shake-up in the AEW broadcast schedule, as one show will not air at all due to a scheduling conflict with the NBA. Announced on last night's episode of Collision, a change in the upcoming AEW broadcast schedule, as next Saturday, AEW's network partner TNT is set to air coverage of the NBA All-Star Weekend, so Collision will not air on February 17 at all. Commentary noted that Collision would return live on February 24, which is already set to be a bit of a long haul for fans of professional wrestling. Collision is yet again set to air on the same day as a WWE Premium Live event, this time Elimination Chamber, however at entirely different times, of course, because WWE is hosting the event in Australia. The Elimination Chamber main card will kick off at 2 a.m. Pacific, 5 a.m. Eastern time in the US. Collision was noted to be resuming to the normal time slot of 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern upon returning on February 24. So they will be going head to head, but kind of not really on that Saturday. Now, The Undertaker has been the latest to comment on the WrestleMania main event of Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes. WWE Hall of Famer The Undertaker has weighed in on the presumed main event at WrestleMania 40 featuring Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns. While The Undertaker may have recorded his podcast episode for his 6 Feet Under podcast before the latest developments from the WrestleMania 40 kickoff media event, his sentiments remain valid. Weighing in on the segment where Cody Rhodes revealed on SmackDown that he was essentially deferring his WrestleMania 40 match against Roman Reigns to The Rock, The Undertaker shared his sympathy for Rhodes. He said, quote, "I wanted to hear Cody's promo. It was great. It was so good. I was so invested. When he said, just not at WrestleMania, my freaking heart sunk into my stomach because I knew at that moment what was about to happen. Believe me, money-wise, having The Rock at WrestleMania, brother, come on, against Roman, who's been champion for 13 years now, Samoan versus Samoan, it's huge, and it is what it is." Although The Undertaker would go on to praise Cody Rhodes for how he handled the situation in the moment, Taker said, quote, "Knowing and being in that situation a couple of times myself during my career, for Cody to go out and deliver the promo that he delivered last night, I felt for him. I felt that knot in my stomach because, like I said, I had been there before and he did it like a champ. He did it so professionally. Now, while we may have to wait until a future episode of his podcast to hear Taker's updated thoughts on the WrestleMania 40 storyline, we won't have to wait long to see more of The Rock. The Rock has been announced to appear on Friday's February 16 edition of SmackDown on Fox. Since the night is set to host a double taping of SmackDown, it is possible The Rock will be making not one but 2 appearances ahead of the upcoming premium live event Elimination Chamber in Australia, so we could get a double dose of the great one. Finally, main roster star Shotzi has appeared at a recent WWE AEW NXT live event. In an intriguing crossover last night at an NXT house show, a main roster star not only won a match, but they earned a title shot. Announced at last night's NXT house show in Venice, Florida, an upcoming NXT Women's Championship match for a main roster star in Shotzi. Shotzi popped up last night on February 10 in Venice to be the tag team partner for Gigi Dolan in a match against Lyra Valkyria and Tatum Paxley. After the pair of Gigi and Shotzi beat the champion and her bestie, it was announced that Shotzi would have a big opportunity. Shotzi will challenge Lyra Valkyria on Tuesday for an upcoming episode of NXT for the NXT Women's Championship. Now, it isn't exactly clear if the match will air this Tuesday or next, since the taping will be for 2 shows as well. The NXT Tag Team titles will also be on the line on this week's show, as the family will defend against the winners of the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic, the Wolf Dogs, that being Baron Corbin and Bron Breakker. But there you go, guys. It's the latest pro wrestling news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll speak for you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.